It is Mental Health Week, and today we're adding to the conversation with a discussion focused on the mental health of Black people and the reluctance to seek support that is all too common in our communities, and the typecast of the strong Black woman, which really needs to be deconstructed. So psychotherapist Marci Gray is joining me for this. Welcome, Marci. I'm so happy you could join us for this very big topic that we're just going to sort of skim the surface on. We all know that there is severe racial trauma, intergenerational trauma, and other mental health challenges that Black families are going through. Currently, it's been an up and down time. It's been a sad time for the community. Why do you think that there is sort of this refusal to seek help?
There's this refusal to seek help for a couple of reasons. So one, we know that in the Black community, there is still a lot of stigma with mental illness. So there was a study in Ottawa that showed even Black Canadians still think that it is a stigma to have a mental illness or to get treatment for their mental illness. And then we've got the strong Black woman stereotype that says that if you have a mental illness, you're weak. And so it goes right against the strong that Black woman stereotype. And so when you're trying to fulfill that stereotype and you're trying not to be weak, you're not acknowledging your mental health. You're not acknowledging that your mental wellness is actually really important.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard Black people say therapy is for white people. You know, like that is the sort of thing that we're trying to combat right now. Actually, we all have issues in our brains and we all need to like work on them and find a place for them. And it's why I love the generations coming up, like Black millennials, they're going for therapy. They're not messing around with that stuff. And I love them for that. So I want to talk about the strong Black woman stereotype. We know it's a stereotype, and yet many of us try and live up to it.
Yeah, so we start living up to this stereotype of the strong Black woman. So the strong Black woman is this image of strength. And so we always want to be strong. We always want to ensure that we're showing this strength and this superhero kind of persona. So we grow up with this strong Black woman image, a lot of us in our families. For example, in our healthcare systems, we're considered to be strong. And so then we don't end up getting medications like we should because we're considered to be strong. And, you know, then we are determined as well. And then the strong Black woman is about suppressing emotions, unfortunately. So we are trying to combat, you know, the other stereotype of the angry Black woman. Mm-hmm. So we walk around with a smile on our face, and no matter what, you know, we're passed up for that promotion, but we've got a smile on our face. You know, we are on contract and we're not getting the permanent position, but we have a smile on our face. We're feeling that there's racial discrimination in the workplace, but we have a smile on our face because we are so afraid of being pinned as the angry Black woman as well.
And then we do this sort of at our own detriment. So what is the cost to us living up to that stereotype or keeping that stereotype intact, Marci?
So we refuse to be vulnerable, and that's the problem, right? There's no vulnerability. And with vulnerability, we know that that's actually a strength. When you're vulnerable, it actually makes people draw towards you. And so I know there's a fear of being vulnerable because it's like you don't want to be kicked when you're feeling down, but it's actually a strength that Black women really need to take on. In addition, we tend to go above and beyond helping everyone in our communities, helping our partners, our children, our you know, everyone, you name it, but we don't help ourselves. And so we really need to stop and take stock and look at our own emotional and psychological well-being and really take time to look after that.
Now, I don't want to put the onus fully on us, but how can we help our fellow sisters in these situations in the workplace, do you think?
Absolutely. The onus shouldn't necessarily be on us, as well. It should be on everyone, really. And so in the workplace, I think we got to make sure that we're making spaces for Black women to be able to share. We're looking at psychological health and safety in the workplaces. That's really might look different for your Black women. And also sometimes a space where they don't want to share. And you understand that they're what they're going through, and you understand that and you have empathy for what they might be going through and that they may not want to share.
Yeah, I feel in a lot of ways I'm in a very unique position here, even within Cityline, because I have those hands on my back saying, be vulnerable. do the conversation, don't do the conversation. What do you feel comfortable with? You don't have to carry this burden. You can sit back, or you can let it all hang out. And I think a lot of us don't have that. And when you have that behind you and you're able to show up as 100% in the workplace, what you can contribute is so much more. But it is about that vulnerability piece, and I think it's a real tough one for us. So I'm going to end this by getting you, Marci, to give maybe some advice to Black women out there. What would you tell us about seeking help, or maybe revealing and rolling around in our vulnerability a little bit more?
Absolutely. So make your mental health a priority. Make yourself a priority. You can't pour from an empty cup. I created the Empowerment Planner, Tracy, and that is a wellness tool in which you can use on a daily basis to look after your mental health and wellness. And the Empowerment Planner has a space for, gratitude practice. It has a daily affirmation. It also has a space for checking off your mood and your anxiety ratings and a self-care checklist. So it is a way of you actually tuning into yourself on a daily basis. In addition, you touched on this, Tracy, having a circle of support for yourself. So having some women, some people in your life that can lift you up, people who look like you, and then also having allies who don't look like you. Having people that are around you that value your vulnerability, value who you are, your authenticity, so that you can be yourself in every environment. And we no longer have to suppress our emotions, but we're okay with sharing them.
That is such great advice. And I like how you've been very intentional about your call outs in the journal. So there is a place to talk about your mood, as you mentioned, or your anxiety, or to talk about your body, or to talk about your relationships. And I think it's really great that there's some space to sort of get the things out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marci.